Today's tip is all about gluing rounded edges, and this can be a pain for a lot of people because it has a lot to do with the type of glue you use, the type of curve that you're working with, whether it's inside the object or outside, and we're going to use a round box in order to do this. Now, I have put a round box template inside the resource library. And inside that resource library, you are going to find, let me just click on it here, number 397 round box. So you can just simply download it here, and that's exactly where it will be. If you are not familiar with our resource library, just go to betsmakes.com and click on the button to join the Crafters Club. There is a free portion, so you can get your free round box there. All right, let's go over to Design Space, and what I want to do here is simply upload the file. Remember, the file is called Round Box. That's the one we're going to upload, so let's just upload it into Design Space. And you're going to find it all grouped together. It's going to do a couple of round things. We're going to make a very small round box here. We want to change these lines to score line, so let's go grab this first one, and I can tell because there's no real color here. So this first one, you'll see it in red, and I'm just going to change that to a score. And then we come down to this next one where it has no tags here. You'll see it in red up here. All of my designs, I use red for my score lines. Okay, so now we can just simply cut this out the way it is, but what we want to do is grab this piece, this round box right here, all of those pieces, attach that together. Oh, it wants to attach everything, which is just fine. We can cut everything out just like this. I would rather that you separated things out, but that's fine. Make sure you save it. Let's go over here and make it. And the one thing about make it here is that you want to be able to do two different colors, or you can do it all in the same color. It really doesn't make any difference. I'm going to click on make it, and it is just one piece, so you can just cut it out as is. Really simple, really easy. So let's get that cut out, and when you're ready, and we'll come over and put this whole thing together, and I'll show you a few tips and tricks for doing the rounded edges. So I am going to get out my glue, and we are going to take a look at different ways to put all of this together. So let's go over here. It'll just take a second to come up. This is going to be really quick. There we go. We have all of our types of glues. I have a box of different glues. I've actually ordered another one today. So you can use a glue gun, but what I find with the rounded edges, even though it's good, if you have to press it with your fingers, it's very, very hot. So I'm not going to use that for this, but you could. I have other glues that we can use here. I have an E6000. It dries clear. And I tend to use this for a lot of things. It is, even though it is permanent, it's transparent. I really like this particular glue. You can also use a different type of glue, a super glue by Gorilla that has little spots on it. That will work extremely well. I have other glues here. I tend to use a water soluble. And then my final one here, until I get my new glues, is a neutral pH adhesive. And it's good for putting paper together. It doesn't seem to give it a lot of hold right away. So what I'm going to use today is I'm going to use my E6000. I'll just move this out of the way and this one out of the way. So we're going to then take a look at these two pieces. Now the smaller one and the large circle go together, and then the smaller circle and the larger piece goes together. What you have to do is make sure that you fold down on your score lines here so that we can work with those curved edges. Now a lot of people want to put their entire glue right away to the whole thing, but if you're gluing something together such as this, and you want to have the edges go around on the outside that's a little easier, but quite often when you're working with these, you have to put them on the inside. Now, a little way you can do that, if you put them on the outside, it's easier to work with. What you would want to do at that point is cut an extra circle and place it over top on the back so that you don't see your edge. If you just want to use just a small amount of paper, then you are going to have to go ahead and put it on the inside, and that becomes more of an issue when you go ahead to do that. So let's just put the smaller one together. I'm going to use this E6000. And what I'm going to do is just going to put a small amount of glue here. Now, as you can see that it's pretty blobby. If you get one of the new Bear glues, then you can work with it. I'm going to just get a bit of a tissue here. I always have these wet wipes handy. And just so that if I get it on my fingers, I can rub it off right away. So I'm just going to put a small amount on the edge. Don't worry about if you've got a little extra. Small amount on the edge. What you want to do is just start with 2 or 3 pieces on the edge. Now I'm going to place it here. I'm just going to take the first 2 and I'm going to align it right away to the edge. So you want to make sure your edge is in place. You are going to hold it there, just the first 2, so you get that rounded effect. And sometimes if you hold it in place. Now the biggest problem with a lot of these stickier glues is that you are going to have to hold it in place until it finally dries enough that you can work on the next 2 pieces. Now when you're doing a rounded edge, please only work with a couple at a time. Otherwise you are going to be holding the inside of this forever. I got a little water on there. As you can see, if I let go, it's going to curve in a different direction. So I'm just holding the first one and the second one in place. I don't want to go beyond that. You can see it from here. And you're trying to get that curve in place. And the curves are pretty difficult to work with. Now, this is going on the inside. It's a little harder to match. I prefer going on the outside with anything. So let's just put this aside to dry. Should dry here momentarily. I can use a clip to hold it into place. Just grab my little clip, hold it into place. There we go. All right, other little method that you can do is, I said, you can also, grab an extra circle so that when you're making your box, it's a lot easier to place it on the outside because you can roll it in. So my recommendation here, of course, is to roll it in. I just want to add glue to the first 2. I could probably use that same blob. I'm just going to use my fingers here just on the first 2. This is going to be much easier to match. So if you have a rounded surface, you really want to have a second one because you can roll it into place. Watch this. This is so much easier because I know it's going to match. So grab that first one. The first one is the toughest. Roll it right in there so it gets to the edge of the very first one. Now, I can use a clip such as this just to hold it into place. Then I can roll it around. Oh, it's not going to hold into place. Okay, we're going to have to let that dry. Dry enough that we can move on. And then we'll just roll this around. As soon as that dries into place, we can roll this over. I'm just going to grab it tightly. And I can add the second one because we did put it on the 2. And I'm just going to hold that into place. Now, the biggest thing is you've got to do this one at a time until you get everything rolled around to the edges you're looking for. Now, here's another little secret. Once you've got these rolled around and glued into place, you can always flip your paper around if you wanted to, but it's a little easier just to make sure that things fit into place around your curve one at a time. And it is much easier to put it on the outside because you can match this up. Whereas if you're doing it blind, such as this one, then you're going to get a rougher looking edge. So there are two ways to do that, one on the inside and one on the outside. And you're going to get this nice curve going all the way around. And you'll notice that I did not glue the edges together until we get the whole thing glued together. And once that is glued together, we will add the other pieces. So that's just a little tip on the gluing. One is inside, one is outside. Do one or two at a time. It takes a little bit longer to do it, but it is well worth it.